A high-profile British atheist, Richard Dawkins, has gone one step further. He wants Pope Benedict arrested over the Church's child abuse scandal when he steps on British soil later this year. Richard Dawkins joins us now from Oxford in England. So do you think this is practical, that this is feasible, not just a political point people are trying to make against the Pope, that he could actually end up in the dock?
Well, first of all, I should say that it was really Christopher Hitchens who suggested this, and I went along with him, and we've talked to a couple of lawyers in England to look into the possibilities. I'm not sure if it's really feasible that he really literally will end up in the dock. That's what we're aiming for. But I think it's good consciousness raising to alert people to the fact that there is no reason why the head of a large religious organization should be exempt from the same law that the rest of the world has to submit to. There is no get-out-of-jail-free card that should be offered to a religious leader any more than to anybody else in the world.
Let me ask you this. The Pope is the head of the Catholic Church. It's not like when in the International Criminal Court we see soldiers or military commanders tried for war crimes where they actually gave out orders to abuse, kill, or rape victims. In this case, he was not behind any order given to anyone. So why prosecute the pontiff?
No, he wasn't actually behind any orders to do any raping of children, obviously. The whole point is about cover-ups, and whether the Pope, in his capacity as head of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith when he was Cardinal Ratzinger, or when he was Archbishop of Munich, whether he put the interests of the Church, the public relations interests of the Church, first, ahead of the interests of the children themselves, whether he went along with decisions of the Church to simply move offending priests to another school or another place where they could re-offend. And that does look as though, at very least, he has a case to answer.
I'm just confused as to how this is a crime against humanity, I suppose.
You're confused as to how it's a crime against humanity to cover up the raping of 10, 11, 12-year-old children.
I'm not confused as to why it could be considered a crime. I'm confused at how it can fit in the International Criminal Court's definition, which is clear, of what
you have
a war
to ask a
crime
lawyer
or a crime
about
against
that. I
humanity
specifically said when I agreed
Okay.
to do this interview I was not going to answer technical legal questions.
Okay, well, it wasn't a technical legal question.
Well, it
was
is a technical
wide-ranging
legal question.
Okay, let's move on then. Why ethically should the Pope be held accountable for crimes committed by priests during a time when he was a cardinal, in your opinion?
Once again, I have to stress, the Pope didn't do any of these things himself. He was complicit in the, or one could make the case that he was complicit in the covering up of the crimes after they had been committed. And we have it in his own words that he put the interest, the public relations interest of the Church ahead of the interest of the children themselves.
How much, lastly, Richard Dawkins, do you think this is going to harm the Catholic Church as a, I suppose, as what it wants to present itself as a moral institution?
Well, it's enormously damaging. The very idea of the Catholic Church presenting itself as a moral institution was already threatened by its remarkable stance on things like AIDS and condoms and such things. But this really could be the last straw. This really could be the last straw that breaks the camel's back and finally alerts people to what a joke it is to treat the Catholic Church as any authority on morals.